Project House DRA is a diversified global engineering group with a 30-year track record and an extensive experience in every aspect of a project's life cycle. With representation in Africa, Australia, Canada, India and the US, DRA is able to deliver engineering solutions across the globe. Today, Creamer Media's Mining Weekly Online is talking to JOHANNESBURG, DRA's Managing Director. All my experience of DRA has been around your activities in platinum, in coal, but now you're moving quite aggressively into the gold sector.
Well, that's correct, and thank you for the opportunity. DRA has certainly been known for its skill set and abilities in the platinum sector, where we've built a large bit of our growth on. But we've identified at the end of 2010 that we really needed to be in the gold sector. It was pretty obvious that gold was starting to pick up and we needed to diversify our skills, which was already quite diversified at the time, but with a specific and, as you say, aggressive focus into gold. And as we sit here today, we're very proud of having grown our market share in gold substantially. And what we're particularly proud of is the fact that that market share has been grown on everything from smallish gold projects, and when I say smallish, is as little as sub $50 million EPC, all the way up to the very large EPCM projects of multi-billion dollars. We've done that in South Africa as well as the rest of Africa, with a significant part of that market share in West Africa. These days there's also some focus on Central and Eastern Africa, where we believe there will be a number of other opportunities. But yes, gold very much a part of where we're going, and very proud of our track record there.
And what value can you add to the client? What value do you add?
Well, I think it's exactly the ability to service both small and large clients, projects in different regions. You know, Standard Bank has a thing of saying they call it Africa, we call it home. I've often said that one of the things that Africa is most underestimated for is people think of Africa as a country. Africa is a continent. It's got 53 very different countries inside there. The logistics are different, the legal systems are different, the languages are different. And our ability to deliver projects from small to large in those different jurisdictions, be it West Africa, which is English and maybe a little bit easier, all the way to French-speaking Africa, Portuguese-speaking Africa, our ability to deliver on time and within budget, as I guess our competitors will also say. But having the track record, they're there, they're done, they're working, they're delivering. Those were completed under some fairly challenging circumstances. You know, safety is a big part of what DRA drives. And on our largest gold project, which was in the DRC, we were working in a region where the concept of unskilled was completely redefined. You know, people don't even know, they don't understand the risk associated with a hammer, and they don't speak any English. Having used those skill levels and trained them up, we were able to deliver more than 9 million LTI-free hours on a very complex gold project. It's important to be able to go and have a look at the projects that were actually completed. You can do the design on a piece of paper in an air-conditioned office somewhere, but can you go and deliver it and construct it successfully in the middle of Africa? That is, I think, the essence of what we do differently to others. Where is our differentiator? Understanding the logistics, understanding what it takes to go and complete a project, irrespective of its size, anywhere in Africa.
Do you start with studies, or at what point do you move in? Do you do the pre-feasibility, the feasibility, or do you go across the full spectrum?
Varies from project to project. We prefer to do the full spectrum. There's value add throughout all of those phases of the project, obviously, but it's in the study stage where you really get to understand the chemistry, you know, understand what's it going to take to get the gold out of the ore, how are you going to mine it. You know, we offer everything from the processing expertise, the mining engineering, so it's all about how do you actually go and take value out of the ground and get it to a place where you can deliver some real value. So we like to be involved in everything, but having said that, we often do feasibility studies where others have done pre-feasibility studies, or we do feasibility studies and others will go and do the build. And we're comfortable with any of those solutions. We'd like to do as much as possible because we believe carrying the value chain through, you're in a better position to fully understand the risks associated with those projects and being able to mitigate the risk. We like to see ourselves as an extension of the owner. Our success is the owner's success. We have very, very strong relationships with our clients. We always measure our success on the extent of our repeat business. Our repeat business is more than 80% of our market shares. But we understand Africa, and I think our market share in Africa, where we are the clear front runner. Our engineering competence in the Johannesburg centre is just below 1,000. The Americas, we're around 300, and in the Pacific region, under 100 still. And then we have a small office in India as well. The bulk of our staff are qualified engineering staff, but then all of the support that goes with that. I think, as you'd well appreciate these days, with 1,000 people strong, you need HR, you need systems, you need a strong financial department. In terms of being able to deliver the projects we deliver in Africa, we've got a strong logistics department. We have all of those skills, but essentially we like to tell the world we're an engineering business owned and managed by engineers.
Do you often get involved in finance?
I wouldn't say often, Martin, but we've certainly identified that we're moving into an era where there's a need for bridge financing. So we certainly are not going to hold ourselves out as lenders. That is not our skill set. But we have set up a fund which is primarily there to create an opportunity to provide bridge financing. So if we back a project, we know the fundamentals and the physics around that project is going to work, and there's a funding shortfall, we will look at innovative ways of how we can support that and potentially offer that gap financing. In other words, maybe we can do the bankable feasibility study and have that treasury function finance that, so that the team who's doing the study, they still invoice every month, and from a cash flow and a financial reporting point of view, they operating on a business as usual point of view, and there's a funding arrangement that works at a different level. But we found that that's been quite successful in getting some projects over that hurdle, where there's just a shortfall. We all know that the typical, or the more call it conventional lending fraternity, will lend only up to a certain point, and then very often you've got a really viable opportunity that just needs that little bit to get over the line, and that's what we would consider. Obviously, the financing that we would put on the table is not going to be the cheapest financing out there, because that's not our core business. So we see it more as an enabler. We would use the financing function as an enabler to get a project that we believe in over the hurdle. We've diversified quite a bit our engineering skills, all the way from the pure mining consultancy, where we look at mine plans, both hard and soft rock, deep level mining, open cast mining. So certainly the mining engineering service is part of our offering. And then we offer everything around that. We have quite a strong focus at the moment around energy solutions. And on one of the projects I've mentioned, there were 2 hydropower plants developed, which we managed and delivered as part of that project. And ultimately that project will be completely reliant on hydropower, which would be an ideal solution. But we offer all of the infrastructure that supports the mines. We have water capability to provide the water services associated with that, and then everything around the residential developments and all of the infrastructure and supporting stuff around the mines. These days, we also know that a number of the mining owners are driven towards doing more for the community around the whole issue about the social license to operate. And that goes into things like providing agricultural services and doing things around the mine that creates sustainability for the community. One of DRA's differentiators is also the Monopex offering, which is an operations offering. And that allows us to offer boot type solutions where we would build, own, operate and ultimately transfer, or build, own and operate and finance the thing all the way from the front. So we're quite happy and comfortable to look at whatever solution will work for that particular project. And I think that's where the innovation comes in. We have the expertise to understand the resource. We have the expertise to determine how to best mine that resource, how to best process that resource. And also we can offer an operation solution. So it enables us to better understand the risk associated with the total project, and therefore we can offer the owner a solution that is custom built to whatever suits him best. And there's a lot of talk about innovation. Innovation is not only about finding a clever process of how to get an extra ounce of gold out of a piece of rock. It's also about finding the right methodologies and systems to put forward a mechanism that will get a project from a concept into production. And I think that's where DRA's experience and track record have allowed us to get to a position where we actually can have a look at an opportunity and say, listen, from our experience, that's the best solution, and maybe not this, So I think there's a lot of value add in that.
Gold and gold mining are constantly in the news these days. What is DRA able to offer this gold sector?
The gold sector is such an exciting sector. The opportunities around gold here in South Africa are still substantial. There's so much projects happening all over West Africa, and we talk about all these exciting destinations we go to. But the bulk of the known gold reserves are still here in the Witwatersrand. There's an enormous opportunity in the deep level side of things where we can add value. And then the counter to that and the extreme opposite of that is tailings retreat. There's so many tailings on the surface of Witwatersrand that we all drive around every day, and there's all this debate about the environmental risks around that. And as a result, there's a number of projects at the moment where owners are looking at how do we recover that gold which is effectively on the surface.
That was Creamer Media's Mining Weekly Online, talking to Johan de Bruin, the Managing Director of DRA.